Old girl says she's thinking about switching careers to go into nursing because she got $250,000 worth of debt chasing a PhD and can't find a job. Check this out, y'all. A millennial with a PhD and over $250,000 in student loan debt says she's been looking for a job for 4 years. She says she wishes she prioritized work experience over education. Let's talk about this. Now, I don't know if this is the young woman right here, but this is the picture that they selected. So I'm going to assume this is the young woman. And the reason why I say this is because in the article, she wants to remain anonymous, but then they got this picture up here. So I'm like, I don't know how that's really working with the anonymity thing. So I don't know if this is her or not, but let's go ahead and read what this story is talking about. All right, article says, over the past decade, A. Raspberry, I'm assuming that's her name, A. Raspberry has placed a great deal of value on higher education. She's now come to regret it. Raspberry earned a bachelor's, master's, and doctorate degree in business management from St. Leo University in Florida. It says, however, she has struggled to find a job in her field of study over the past 4 years. She also has more than $250,000 in student loan debt, according to a document viewed by Business Insider. She says, I graduated with my PhD in 2020 and can't find a job to save my life. And she's 38 years old and lives in Virginia. She says she asks for partial anonymity using only the first initial of her first name and last name because of privacy concerns. Goes on to say, since earning her PhD, Raspberry has applied for various business management roles, but had little success. It says, she said she's been forced to expand her job search and explore a new career in nursing to help her make ends meet. Old girl says she's thinking about switching careers to go into nursing because she got $250,000 worth of debt chasing a PhD and can't find a job. Goes on to say, she says, I thought education was the road to financial freedom, but I was wrong. Raspberry is among the Americans who are having a tough time finding work. In part, it's because businesses across the U.S. have significantly scaled back on hiring over the past 2 years. The ratio of job openings to unemployed people, which is an indicator of availability, has declined considerably. It says, while the unemployment rate and layoff rate remain low compared with historical levels, the hiring slowdown means that many job seekers are having a considerably harder time than they were a few years ago. Raspberry shared why she thinks her job search has been so challenging, how she made her career pivot, and her top pieces of advice for people pursuing higher education. So let's hear what she got to say for those of y'all who think college is the end-all be-all solution to you achieving success at life. Most organizations prefer experience over education. So if you guys been listening to my channel, I've been telling you guys this. If you go look at my video titled Top Jobs You Can Get with an A+ certification, or the top jobs you can get with a Network Plus or Security Plus certification, when I get into that wonderful slideshow, the very first slide that I actually show you guys is a disclaimer that says, hey, if you want to get a job, this is the order of importance. The number one thing to help you get a job is, do you know somebody? And does somebody know you? And when I say somebody, I'm talking about somebody who works at the company that you want to get hired at. If you know somebody that works at the company and they know you, that can help you bypass the whole job interview process and just walk right on in and get a job. That's the most important thing in life, who you know and who knows you. Now, if you don't know anybody, when you go to these job interviews, then you need to come in there with documented experience in whatever it is that you're trying to do. That is the second most important thing, or the first most important thing, depending upon, where you are if you don't know anybody. What's the third most important thing? Certifications. So especially as it relates to IT, certifications rank number 3. You need to have whatever relevant certs you have to apply for whatever tech job that you're applying for, because they say you have to have these certs. And then what's the fourth most important thing? The fourth thing is education, i.e. college degrees. So as it relates to tech, and I'm pretty sure it's like that in most other industries, but damn sure as it relates to tech, number one, who do you know and who knows you? that can oftentimes help you just skip straight to the head of the line with your fast pass. If you don't know anybody, you need to come to the job interview with documented experience. That's the number 2 thing. Number 3 thing is certifications. And the 4th most important thing, if it's even important at all as it relates to tech, is a college degree. So organizations, they prefer experience over education. Article goes on to say, after receiving her doctorate's degree, Raspberry's initial goal was to land an adjunct professor position. However, speaking with people in the education field, she decided to change course. So these people go to class, go to school to get these PhDs just to become college professors with the hopes and dreams of becoming a tenured professor, which I don't know the stats on people getting tenured and how fast it takes. I don't know any of that crap, but this is what tends to happen. Most people that I know that get PhDs, they tend to become college professors. Article goes on to say, I've learned how difficult it is to get started in this field. Essentially, after earning a PhD, I would have to go back to school to take more courses to support a teaching career. She said she was told she'd specifically need more education-related credits. Goes on to say, as a result, Raspberry said she decided to give up on teaching and focus on finding other roles in her area of study, which was business management. Article says, but her job search has been challenging. Raspberry said she hasn't landed many interviews, and when she has been turned down. She's had a hard time figuring out what went wrong. I can tell you what went wrong. She expanded her job search to non-managerial bookkeeping, accounting, tutoring, and human resource roles, but that she hasn't had much luck with those either. So you're like, Tech G, what went wrong? So she went to school, got all this wonderful education, 4-year degree, graduate degree, PhD, but I can almost promise you she never went and actually worked in the field while she was getting all of those degrees, ladies and gentlemen. I promise you that's what happened. She probably, as soon as she finished that 4-year degree, she probably took summer off, came right back and jumped into her graduate program. Graduate program probably lasted 2 to 3 years. After that, she jumped into her PhD program. That can last anywhere between 4 to 5 to 6, 7, 8 years, depending upon what it is you're doing. I promise you, she was just a full-time student the entire time, not working in anything related to what she was going to school to get her degrees in. And also, she's probably applying for a bunch of jobs where her resume might be overqualified when people look at it. Just think about it. If you got a PhD and you're trying to go out there and essentially get your first job, because like I say in her example, she probably has never really worked a real job before. And then here she comes on her resume, I am a PhD. Doctor is in front of her name. I'm not going to say she's applying for entry-level jobs, but she might be applying for mid-level jobs and above. But the mere fact that she has PhD plastered all over that resume, most people are probably going to say she is overqualified, that she's probably just looking at this job as something just to get a job in till she finds something better so she can go jump ship and, do something better. Now, if she had came and hollered at her boy Tech G, because y'all know I do help people with resumes. So if y'all need help with resumes, go visit my website, Technology G. There's a link in the description box that says IT study materials. You click that link, it'll redirect you to another page about resumes. Anyways, I help people write resumes. And unfortunately, sometimes I have to quote unquote dumb resumes down. People will send me resumes. They'll have all of these wonderful accolades and degrees, but none of that stuff really relates to the position that they're trying to apply for. Or it may make them seem extremely overqualified for the position that they're applying for, even though they're willing to take that job and be a hard, serious worker. So I got to go in there and strip them resumes down to make it look like they don't have a damn master's in this or a PhD in this just so that they can get the freaking job. These are some things that probably affected her. Article goes on to say, Raspberry thinks the biggest obstacle in her job search is her lack of work. Oh, look, I didn't even read this article all the way through. I literally read like the first couple lines and then decided to fire up a YouTube video talking about it. But here he goes right here. The article literally just validated what I just told y'all. It says Raspberry thinks the biggest obstacle in her job search is her lack of work experience. So like I just said like 5 minutes ago, she has probably been a professional student for the past 10 years. Because once again, it takes on average to get a 4-year degree. Most people get a 4-year degree in 5 years. It sounds kind of weird. Maybe she was the good one and she knocked her degree out in 4 years, but 4 to 5 years just to get a 4-year college degree. Then to go get a master's degree, you're looking at another 2 to 3 years years, depending upon what it is that you're doing. Then if you're going to the PhD level, those things can take anywhere between 2 to 3, as much as 8 years to get, depending upon what you're going to school in. Now, she says in this article, she got her PhD back in 2020 and she's 38 years old. So I would imagine she has probably been pursuing a PhD for probably 8 years. I'm assuming that's the case, but I could be wrong, but I think I'm right. Anyways, it says, while pursuing her degrees, she gained some entry-level work experience in banking, human resources, and bookkeeping roles. However, she said the experience might be insufficient in the eyes of employers. She says, didn't I just say this? She goes on to say, I am overqualified for most entry-level positions, but I am underqualified for management or leadership positions. She said, ultimately, my degree has been both a blessing and a curse. She needs to come holler at Tech G so I can get her resume right. That's her problem right there. Because I promise you, she's putting on that resume, she has a PhD. And then they're looking at this PhD like, why do you want to work in human resources if you got a PhD? And then she's like, well, I want to work in management. And they're like, oh, great, you got a PhD. But then they're like, where's your work experience? So she's kind of caught in a little unique position right here. Raspberry's top piece of advice for people who pursue higher education is to do your homework. She said she wishes she spent more time evaluating her school's job placement programs, internship partnerships, and the employment rates of recent graduates across different fields before she pursued her degrees. I said this earlier in the article. She probably went to school, or a lot of people go to school, and they just act like this department of the school doesn't exist. They don't go check out the internships. What type of internships are aligned with this degree that you're going to school for? Is your school actively courting local employers to come in there and give mock interviews, or, just set up little career fairs so that prospective students can go there and talk to the people, maybe even drop a resume off or something like that? But people just totally ignore that stuff. So she said she didn't really spend a whole lot of time considering life after getting all them degrees in terms of how is she going to get a job. The article says she also recommended taking time to think about the value of a college degree and the best way to use it to land a job. She says, I learned most organizations prefer experience over education. She says, had I known that, I would have not spent so many years in college. Like I say, this woman was a professional college student going all the way to the terminal degree level, and she successfully accomplished that. And she has the letters PhD or doctor in front of her name. But she has a PhD in like business or something like that. And apparently that's not working out too well for her. Article says nursing is helping to pay the bills during her job search. So Raspberry said that in recent years, she worked various part-time jobs to pay the bills. She says it feels next to impossible to work a single job and earn enough money to cover essentials like rent, fuel, electricity, etc. in the state of Virginia. One analysis found Virginia was the 13th most expensive state when it comes to overall cost of living. How much do you want to bet that she lives in the DMV area around Washington, D.C., somewhere up in that area right there? You live in that area, it costs an arm and a leg, literally, to just have you a little one-bedroom apartment up there. So, yeah, I promise you that's where she's at. Article says she said she's completing a training program to work remotely for TurboTax as a tax expert. So this woman got a PhD in business or something like that. And now she's about to be helping y'all file your taxes during tax season. And look, there's nothing wrong with that. My tax lady makes a killing, but I'm just saying. Anyways, article says at the same time, she's also exploring a new career, nursing. Raspberry said that for roughly the past year, she'd been working as much as 80 hours a week as a nurse. Now, what type of nurse do you think she is? I don't know the whole medical industry when it comes to nursing, but I'm going to assume she's one of the lower tier nurses, like an LPN. Is it LPN, or what are the different types of nurses? You got the, what is the one that changes the bedpans? Are those like CPNs or something like that? She's one of them people down there. I can almost promise you that. And look, I'm not saying that the clowner. Oh, CN. Where I get CPN from? CNA. I got my acronyms all screwed up. Yeah, CNA. And look, there's no shade to her or anything like that, but I'm just saying, I'm assuming she's doing, because she has no education in that to, be something higher. Anyway, she says, I'm new to nursing, but I find it rewarding and I like the shift flexibility. Raspberry found a nursing role that provided free training and certification, so she's probably a CNA. But she said the downside was that this certification wouldn't carry over to other employers, limiting her opportunities in the industry. She says this is among the reasons she hasn't stopped applying for business-related jobs. Another reason is that she doesn't think she's paid particularly well. She said she was earning $21.50 an hour. So yes, she is definitely a CNA. Like I say, no shade to her, but making $21.50 an hour, that's probably CNA level nursing pay, I imagine. In 2023, the median pay for a registered nurse in the U.S. was about $41 an hour. Despite the long hours, she said the low pay is why she doesn't view nursing as a full-time job. Article goes on to say it doesn't come with full-time pay. Raspberry said that in recent months, she began focusing more on looking for remote roles, such as the TurboTax opportunity. She said working remotely would make it easier to keep her nursing job, reducing her commuting costs, and caring for her dog. Over the past month, Raspberry finally had some luck in the job market. She landed a remote plan consultant position in the nursing field that pays about $70,000 a year. Well, that's pretty decent, equivalent to the hourly rate of $30 an hour. While she views this as a positive development, she said she'd absolutely continue searching for higher paying roles in her field of study. I think she just needs to give up her field of study and just do the nursing thing, because that seems to be actually paying you some money. She says, when I'm not working, I'm online putting in applications for employment. You know what she should do, since she's already learning how to do taxes through TurboTax. If I was her, I would just do the nursing thing and then do taxes on the side. If you know how to file people's taxes, you can make a lot of money, because people like me, I go pay people to do my taxes for me. Because look, I'm not finna be looking at all these tax forms, trying to figure out what boxes to check, how to calculate my deductions properly, even though I probably could go take a class and save myself a few $100s, but I go to my tax lady. My tax lady charges me, like, last year I had to pay a gang of cheese and taxes, right? And I think I had to give my tax lady about 600 of them damn dollars. Now, I guess in the grand scheme of things, that's not a lot compared to what I had to pay in taxes. But just imagine if you got 10 people coming up to you and you got to do their taxes and you charging $500 a pop, you can make some pretty decent money during tax season. That might be what she probably needs to put her emphasis into. And then if she wanted to open up her own tax preparer practice, she could put her Ph.D. in business to use running her own business. Let's see. She says when she's not working, she's online putting in applications for employment. Is that the end of the article? All right. So that's the end of the story right there, y'all. So let's go back to the top. This woman, I'm assuming this is her, right? They put her face big as day on here. She is a millennial. She has a PhD, over $250,000 in student loan debt, and she can't find a job in her profession for what she went to school with. It's been 4 years. She's been trying to find a job in her chosen profession for 4 years. Now she's out here doing the nursing thing, over here whipping up people's taxes on TurboTax. But listen, I don't want to laugh at the woman. A lot of people are in this position, in this predicament, and some people aren't even at the PhD level. I know a lot of people with 4-year degrees who can't find a job in the area of study that they went to school for. Matter of fact, I come across these students all the time, because y'all know I teach IT cybersecurity. I'm a college professor. That's what I teach. So I deal with students that transition. Matter of fact, I had a student that actually had a PhD. I can't remember what his PhD was in, but he switched over and he came into IT. And I was telling y'all about him a couple videos ago, a dude named Carlos. Carlos is, matter of fact, he's almost 30. Carlos is like 39, pushing 40 years old. He got a PhD. Anyways, he came through, learned IT cybersecurity. He went out and got him a help desk job. When he went out there and did his resume, he took all that PhD stuff off of it, all this unnecessary stuff. When he got him a little basic help desk job, paying like $20 an hour, worked that for about 3-4 months. Fast forward to the present day, Carlos makes about $150,000 a year as a IT security manager at a hospital, doing some IT stuff. And he started up his own business, helping lawyers and doctors manage their little computer networks in their offices. And his business has been booming because he knows people. And I think he told me he did like $500,000 in business last year. So this is what's going on. And so I'm saying all that to say everybody wants to go to college or they think that you should go to college. And once upon a time, college was the great solution to a certain extent. Today, you don't really need college like that. You need a freaking skill set that society thinks is valuable, and people that value it will put money in your pocket. That's what you guys need to understand, especially those Gen Zs or those young people that my man Authentic Talk Podcast, his crowd of people. But this is what you need to make it, ladies and gentlemen. You need a skill. You need hard skills, preferably those with some type of certification attached to them. But even if there aren't certifications attached to it, you need to have documented experience. You have done something with those skills so that you can go out there and get paid. Chasing these crazy degrees, and what she said his PhD was in again? She got a PhD in business management. Now, I'm not saying that that's bad. I'm not saying that it's good. I just don't know if it's worth $250,000 when she could have went and took a tech course or signed up through Tech G and got one of my doggone certification, which costs thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars cheaper than that damn PhD. And she could probably be making six figures right now. Let's just say she had met me, came across me in 2020, was like, oh Lord, I don't know what to do. I got $250,000 worth of student debt. She go through, take some of my damn IT classes. Here we are 4 years later. This woman could probably be making $100,000 by now, because I've helped quite a few students actually do that. There's a video on my channel of a young man that I actually met in 2020 who was working at Walmart making $12 an hour, didn't know a damn thing about IT. Today, he makes over $100,000 a year because I taught him. So if you go look for the video, it says, I think the title of it says from minimum wage to six figures. You'll see his testimony on my channel. So she could have came across me in 2020, she could probably be knocking out this student debt right now. But this is what's going on, man. I'm not telling you guys not to go to college. I'm telling you, if you're going to go to college, especially if you plan on racking up this much debt, $250,000 worth of debt, you better make damn sure that there is a guaranteed job position out there for you in your career field so that you can get hired and start knocking that debt out. That's what you need to make sure. You need to go out there, start shaking hands, going to all the career fairs, doing all the internships, because she said she didn't really do none of that crap. She didn't really place much emphasis on the importance of networking. Shout out to our guy Before the Billions. Matter of fact, he's in the chat right now. If you subscribe to Before the Billions channel, he has tons and tons of videos on his channel where he's talking about the importance of networking as it relates to you finding a job, even though he works in tech, but this is applicable across all industries. How you need to be at these industry events, shaking hands, meeting people, getting your name out there, doing whatever you got to do so that hopefully that can accelerate the process of you getting hired. So you're not stuck with a $250,000 bill talking about, oh Lord, what is Oz gonna do? She didn't think any of that was important. The only thing that was important was going all the way to that PhD level. Because, you know, truth be told, a lot of people go to the PhD level because it's like an ego booster. Be like, I'm a doctor. Address me by Dr. such and such, even though their degree is in some bull. You know what I'm saying? It's like, all right, whatever. But anyways, I'm not saying that she's like that. I'm just saying I've come across people that once you actually talk to them and try to figure out, why do you have a PhD? They just wanted to have the title of doctor in front of their name. When you look at what they do for a living and how much they make, it's like, bruh, I make more than you. And I don't have a doctor, you know, whatever. I ain't got none of that crap. So these are things you guys should do, man. If you're going to go that high in your education, even if you're just going to go to the 4-year degree level, get your undergraduate degree. Before you walk up out of that institution, you need to make sure that there is an opportunity available for you to get a job in that career field. It makes no sense, but so many people go to college and they just don't think about this type of stuff. Now, once again, I'm not telling you not to go to college, but if you're going to go, you might want to seriously think about these things, especially as this economy gets tighter and tighter and you guys go watch the news. They say that unemployment is kind of low, but at the same time, a lot of jobs aren't really hiring like that, you know, depending upon what sector you work in. Because I know somebody left a comment on one of my videos the other day talking about, I need to stop talking about cybersecurity and hyping people up to thinking they're going to go get a job working in cybersecurity because these companies aren't hiring. I network with these companies all the time. They all come to my institution that I work at and They out here trying to scout and recruit students. As soon as we done training them up, getting them certified, getting them skilled up, I help them with their resumes, they off to the races going to get a damn job. But then again, people are probably like, well, that's just your area. Nah, that's all over the damn place, because when it comes to IT and tech, and people think of tech layoffs, when you watch the news, they're only showing you news from Silicon Valley. If you work at one of the big FANG companies, Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Google, Apple, and whatever, something like that, right? There are tech positions in every industry. You go to the hospital, there's a whole IT staff that works at the hospital. You go into the finance called fintech, there's a whole IT department or IT division of sorts that work at these big banks and these companies on Wall Street. The health and fitness industry, the education industry, there are tech jobs all over the place. The beautiful thing about IT and tech is that, let's just say you do get laid off from a job, your skills are extremely transferable, meaning you get laid off as a cybersecurity person over here or a cloud developer over here. Guess what? There's another company that needs a cybersecurity or a cloud dude, because guess what? All of their freaking stuff that they use to run their company sits on the cloud, and somebody has to protect the cloud, i.e. the cybersecurity people. So these skills are highly transferable, because you're going to be dealing with the same crap in some capacity at one company, from one company to another. So that's why I always encourage y'all to go into tech, because you can get busy out in these streets. And as long as we got computers and electricity, there's always going to be IT out there. This stuff ain't never going away. Anyways, I just want to talk about this real quick. Don't let this be you. No shade to this woman right here, but $250,000 of student debt, and you cannot find a job in your chosen profession to where you're thinking about switching to become a nurse, and you over here preparing people's taxes. I don't know if it was worth it. But being that she says she's already making $70,000 as a nurse and she's doing taxes, I think she should just become a nurse, pursue that, or pursue the whole tax preparer thing and, try to build up her clientele of doing people's taxes. She might make way more money doing people's taxes than doing whatever the hell she thought she was going to go to school to do. That's what I personally think. But, I don't know anything. I'm just an IT guy.